You know, our solar system is full of some pretty incredible sights, but today we're diving into something that has astronomers absolutely baffled. It's a cosmic puzzle, a real head scratcher, involving two comets that seem to be, well, breaking the fundamental rules of how the universe is supposed to work. And that's really the heart of it, isn't it? I mean, one anomaly, that's a curiosity, but two identical anomalies popping up at the exact same time? That's not a curiosity anymore. That's a pattern. And this pattern is one of the strangest things happening in our cosmic neighborhood right now. All right, so let's meet our first mystery guest, Comet 3I/Atlas. This thing is an interstellar object, and it totally stunned the astronomical community. Not because of its size or its speed, but because of one feature that seems completely, totally impossible: its tail. Okay, so here's how comets are supposed to work. It's pretty simple, really. A comet's tail is always pushed away from the sun. Why? Because of two constant forces, the solar wind and radiation pressure. Think of the sun like a giant fan, always blowing outwards. It's a basic law of physics in our solar system. But 3I Atlas? Its tail is pointing directly towards the sun. It's going against the current, against everything we know. This is so incredibly rare, it's practically unheard of. So just as scientists were trying to wrap their heads around this bizarre case, the universe just goes and throws another curveball. A second comet, this one named R2/Swan, shows up. And you're not going to believe it. It was doing the exact same impossible thing. The mystery was suddenly not a one-off event anymore. And this is where it gets really strange. The similarities between these two are just uncanny. It's not just that impossible sunward tail. Look at this. Both comets have the same characteristic green color. They both have orbits that are close to the ecliptic plane, which is basically the flat disk where all the planets hang out, and they both reach their closest point to the sun around the same time. The coincidences just keep piling up and up. But here's the part that really takes this from a strange coincidence to a truly mind-bending, almost unsettling pattern. It isn't just what these comets are doing, it's where they're doing it, in relation to us. Their positions on the cosmic map are just astonishing. All right, let's just map this out. So here's the sun and here's Earth. Pretty simple. Now watch this. 3I/Atlas comes into the picture, positioned on one side of our planet. Then R2/Swan appears on the exact opposite side. They are almost perfectly symmetrical, with our planet, Earth, sitting right in the middle of them. The source material we're looking at actually describes this as a giant pincer movement. Now hold on, no one is claiming this is some kind of attack. But you have to admit, the sheer improbability of two comets, both with impossible tails, arranging themselves in this perfect symmetrical formation around our planet, it's really, really hard to just brush that off. So what could possibly explain all this? Well, the theories are all over the place. They range from the purely scientific to the highly, highly speculative. So let's take a look at the different ideas the source material explores to try and make some sense of this crazy mystery. Okay, so on the scientific side of things, the suggestions are that maybe this is just a really rare geometric effect. We're simply seeing the comets from a weird angle that creates an illusion. Other ideas include some strange local reversals in the solar wind, or maybe some complex plasma interactions we just don't understand yet. But then you have the other side of the coin. The source material gets into some really speculative theories, asking if maybe these are something else entirely, like plasma beings with some kind of primitive consciousness, or maybe non-human tech, like controlled probes, or even part of some grand, unseen cosmic strategy. One of the most fascinating speculative ideas is this thing called the plasma biology hypothesis. Now, it sounds super technical, but the basic idea is this. What if plasma, that superheated gas that stars are made of, could form complex, self-organizing structures that kind of act alive? Think of it like a school of fish or a flock of birds, where all the individual parts act together like a single entity with a sort of shared intelligence. In that view, a comet isn't just a dead rock with ice, it's a carrier for a high-energy life form. It's a wild idea for sure. So let's just recap this whole chain of events, because it's pretty wild when you lay it all out. You've got two comets that show up at the same time. Both of them have these impossible tails pointing towards the sun. They share the same green color, they follow similar orbits, and to top it all off, they form a perfect pincer formation with Earth right in the middle. I mean, when you put it all together like that, you can really see why this mystery has captured so many imaginations. So, where does that leave us? Well, honestly, we don't have a definitive answer. There's no neat little bow to tie this up with. What we have is a series of events that are so perfectly synchronized, it kind of forces us to ask a really profound question about our place in all of this. So, what are we really seeing here? Is this just a one in a trillion chain of random cosmic events that just happens to look like an incredible pattern? Or is the universe trying to tell us something? Is it a signal that we're meant to receive? Something that forces us to rethink everything we thought we knew? For now, that remains the unanswered and absolutely fascinating question.